This is my timeline for the years 1900 to 2021, Part 10, covering 1990 to 1999. This is the 10th of 12 posts with an illustrated decade-by-decade timeline for 1900 to 2021. For more on the timeline, see the first post in the series, which you can find on my website. This post is a teaser, not the full text. To receive a PDF of the text for this decade, join my free email list by going to the URL that's on the screen. Alright, let's look at some of the events of this decade. In 1990 came the first gene therapy and birth of the first designer babies, twins whose sex was chosen in a lab. In 1991, Rodney King is beaten by LAPD officers after resisting arrest for driving while intoxicated. In 1992, the rioting following the acquittal of those LAPD officers results in 63 deaths, more than 2,000 injuries, and nearly $1 billion in property damage. In 1991, December, the USSR dissolves into states based on old political and ethnic boundaries. The oligarchs take over the energy and industry. In 1995, in April, was the Oklahoma City bombing, 168 dead, by Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols, who claimed that they are doing it to avenge Ruby Ridge and Waco, 1992 and 93. Also in 1995, in October, O.J. Simpson was found not guilty of the murder of his ex-wife and her friend after 133 days of televised courtroom coverage from Los Angeles. The famous line is, "If it doesn't fit, you must acquit." The trial leads to conspiracy theories and polarization of racial attitudes. 1997 to 2001 was the dot-com bubble, also known as the dot-com boom, the tech bubble, or the internet bubble. Speculation on internet-related companies leads to a spike in their value. The NASDAQ Composite Stock Market Index, which is weighted heavily toward the information technology sector, rises by 400%. 1999, the U.S. turns the Panama Canal over to Panama under a treaty negotiated by Jimmy Carter. Also 1999, in Russia, Boris Yeltsin hands power over to Vladimir Putin. In culture, we had the rise of multiculturalism, which emphasizes loyalty to a particular group and insists on its value rather than saying that it should be assimilated. Multiculturalism argues that all cultures are equal regardless of the ideas they espouse. At the extreme, it can be used to attack science, reason, Republican government, individualism, and much more. In economics, in the 1990s, for the first time, more Americans are employed by the government than by the manufacturing sector. In science and technology, 1997, the Pathfinder probe lands on Mars, and the Galileo probe orbits Jupiter. In 1998, construction of the International Space Station begins. Cell phones, personal computers, faxes, email, text messages, and digital cameras all become common, as does civilian use of GPS, which is based on 24 U.S. satellites. In books, popular authors include John Grisham, Stephen King, Danielle Steele, and Michael Crichton. Popular series include Harry Potter, Outlander, Goosebumps, Song of Ice and Fire, which is made for TV, later as Game of Thrones, and at the cutting edge of literature is David Foster Wallace's Infinite Jest from 1996. It is a so-called encyclopedic novel in which the endnotes have footnotes. In the visual arts, traditional artists include Jack Vetriano and Evangelos Frudakis. Turner Prize winners, which means the extreme cutting edge, include Damien Hirst for Mother and Child Divided, 1995, a formaldehyde-preserved cow and calf in separate glass cases. In movies this decade, we had Jurassic Park, The Titanic, and Forrest Gump, among many others. On TV, Seinfeld was a hit. In 1992, The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson ended its 30-year run. In video games, we had Super Mario 64, Street Fighter II, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Tamagotchi. Popular album artists include Celine Dion, Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Mariah Carey, and Garth Brooks. Pop music styles include grunge, hip-hop, R&B, teen pop, ska punk, Latin pop, rave, industrial music, groove metal, and nu metal. And that's it for this week. DianeDurantewriter.com has hundreds of posts on sculpture, painting, architecture, and my other obsessions. To join the free Sunday recommendations email list, visit the URL on the screen or email me. And you can say, "Well done, Diane," or support my work and receive rewards by the tip jar on DianeDurantewriter.com. As always, thank you for listening.